Okay, we are going to repeat the printing approach. You know, the reason why I'm actually emphasizing on this printing is that I know how this printing aspect have actually suffered us in some project that we have scheduled, because we discovered that you are printing, selecting different paper, large paper, and at the same time your work is still cutting. It's not entering one page. Okay, it has been a challenge. I've received a lot of questions as regard to that stuff. So I'll still go back to the printing again. So your normal printing, go to your file and then print. Okay. Now what make this particular file or this particular project to enter one page is the fact that we have reduced it, the scale. So let's say I'll go back to project setting and I take it back to 100. Now, one thing you need to understand is that it's not about reducing the size, because you need to look at the visibility of your project as well, so that you not print something and they cannot see it. All right. So sometimes you look at, you possibly will not do a very large project and you want it to enter A4 and they want people to still see the information. Okay. So it's also sometimes you actually need to consider the paper size that you are using. Okay. Sometimes you can export your work even in A2 and possibly reprint it in A3. That will actually work. Okay. But if you know that your work is large, then possibly you can print it in A2, depending on how large is your project. Okay. So now, for example, now without reducing without the adjustment, okay, without the adjustment, if I increase this instead of that A4 size, if I put it on A3, okay, you discover that it's already one page. You see, right? So it's one page, okay? So, but a situation whereby you discover that if your work is cutting, because if it is cutting, how you know is the fact that it will be that possibly you are seeing two pages. Yeah, this is one of one. So it already shows that it's one page. Okay, down here. All right. Then another thing again is that still under your project setting or your page setting, for example, your project, you want the name, and let's say at the top of your schedule, you want the name of the project. Okay, you want the name of the project, who prepared the schedule, okay, and possibly any other information that is required on your project. Now, for example, we have under the page, this is where we do our adjustment if it is portrait or landscape. So we already leave it as landscape. Now, margin, you want to set your margin from the size of your paper. Okay, you can do that by increasing or reducing this size here. But presently we have it at 0.5. Okay, at both sides. Okay, and then you say that you should put the border around every page. So you see that every page will have a border. Okay, then under your header now will be like, okay, which for example, now let's say by my left I want to put the project name. Let's say I say construction of let's say construction of 2-bedroom flats as a project name. Construction of 2-bedroom. Okay, as a project name. Right. At the same time, you can still include like possibly project name like this. Project name. Okay. And then I put this, and then I put project name. That is to the left of my page, right? And then I'll click OK. So you see, From the top here, you are seeing that the project name is the construction of 2-bedroom flat. Then still on the page setting, now we put project name at the left of the page. At the center of the page, I will now put the name of the client. Okay, so if the project name is at this side of this particular page, then the name of the client will be at the center. So let's say client name. Client name. Or let's say client. And then I said Mr. Yakubu. Okay, as the client name. Okay. Then I click OK. So the name of the client is showing, and then prepared by will now be the left side. Okay, so let's say prepared by. So you are the project manager. So it's prepared by you. So prepared by Mr. John. Okay, prepared by Mr. John. All right. So now this information will be at the heading of your project. Okay. Now, another thing again is that you discover that you have legend. You have a lot of legend here. Okay. Now, there's something that is showing here, project, whereby we have project 1. I want you to take note of that. Because under this project, now we already have a project name up here. So it's advisable if you want this to show the name of the project, then the time that you are saving your Microsoft Project Workspace, you have to save it as the name of the project. Okay? Because it picks the name, because if you look at the title, or the heading of our project generally is called Project 1. That's why the name of the project is showing Project 1 under this legend. Okay, that's if you want it to be here. Okay, then you have to resave it. Okay, because there are some clients that you actually prepared this for, and then possibly send it to them. They said no, how, because it will show that as it will show as if you are the one that writes the project name here. Okay, so you just receive the whole work, and then save it as the particular project. So possibly I'll receive it as construction of 2-bedroom flats, or possibly you receive it as 2-bedroom flat, so that it will now show the project name as 2-bedroom flat. Now, what if you don't want all this legend here? Okay, all this information showing here, because it's just few things that we need, and possibly this our legend did not actually, the person you are sending to doesn't need much interpretation of your bar or your chart. Okay, so I'll still go back to my page setting, and I'll go to the legend. Now, sorry, before we go to the legend, we look at the footer as well. Footer has to do with informations under your foot here. Okay, your footer also have your left, right, and center. Now, if all this information we put at the top, at the header, you can decide to put them at the footer. Okay, you can decide to put them at the footer. So depend on where you want it to be. Then I was talking about legend. If I click on legend, we don't want the legend on every page, legend page. Okay, and then none. If you say none now, if I click none and then I click OK, you see that the legend has disappeared. So possibly you don't want it on your work. Okay, depend on the magnitude of your work as well, as I said, or possibly you can put legend possibly only on one page, maybe only the front page. Okay, so that your legend will not be in all the page. Okay, so that it will just select it legend in one page. Okay, instead of legend in every page. But normally, I personally use legend in every page, because in case if you prepare that and you assume that the person you are producing this to actually understand program of work, and at the end you discover that you give it to somebody else that doesn't understand program of work, the legend will actually help the person to understand what you prepared. So it's better as a project manager for you to actually leave it in every page. It is left for them to read the legend before reading your schedule. Okay, so if all this setting is okay, then this your page is actually ready to print. Now, if it's ready to print, then as I said, we are not exporting it to a printer. Let's assume you are sending it to somebody, you are not printing it straight. But if you have your printer, you can select the name of the printer here. For example, I have this DC6240 is one of our printer here. But now you don't actually need to. I'm printing it straight to PDF so that you can send it to anybody to print for you, or you can copy it with Flash and print it anywhere, or you can send it via email or whatever that you want to share your information. So now I'll just click on print. Okay, this has to do with the number of pages, but as far as we are not printing it we are not printing it direct to a printer, we'll just leave it as page 1, and then I click print. All right, so now as I click on print, instead of sending it to a printer, now it will now take it to a directory where I can now save the project. So let's assume I want to save it on my desktop, and then I click, and then I type the name of the project, 2-bedroom. Okay, and type the name of the project. All right, and then I click save. So I have successfully exported this particular project. Okay, because the most difficult thing that people face as far as this is concerned is issue of saving your project or exporting your project for the whole project to enter one page. Okay, do you have any question? Another thing I want to talk about is that if you actually practice, because if you look at our advert for this, we have certificate at the end of this class, but as I said, we are not just giving this certificate to everybody. So if you actually practice this, if you practice this and then you want your certificate, then you have to request for your final project. We will give you a particular project that you do, prepare your schedule from the beginning to the end, and then export it as a PDF, as I've just shown you. You export it as PDF and send to us, and at the same time, send the Microsoft project format also to us. If you send these two, we are going to prepare your certificate and send to you.